Is advising all Americans now to wear a cloth mask. Why the change now? Because most of us have been walking around, going to the grocery store, not wearing the mask because that was the original recommendation.
Well, we have to make sure we don't forget that the most important thing is to keep this 6-foot physical distance from individuals.
However, you testified recently, and I'm quoting, this 6-foot rule sort of just appeared.
Staying 6 feet away from people.
This 6-foot rule
Staying 6 feet apart.
crippled businesses,
Maintaining 6 feet of distance.
allowed students to stay at home and not learn.
So important. Maintaining distance of 6 feet or more.
Do you think that a rule that sort of just appeared is substantial justification for the regulations that we saw based on that 6-foot rule?
6 feet apart.
The CDC was responsible for those kinds of guidelines, not me.
I would recommend doing what the CDC, as I think appropriately and correctly said, staying 6 feet away. The perfect solution to this is if everyone stays 6 feet separated. 6 feet away. Stay 6 feet apart. 6 feet distance. 6 foot distance. 6 feet apart. 6 feet away. 6 feet away. That's our most important tool.
It had little to do with me since I didn't make the recommendation. And I think we should just follow carefully the CDC recommendations. We must abide by public health measures. The usual 6 feet apart.
Very important. 6 foot distance. Stay 6 feet apart. A 6-foot rule.
It actually came from the CDC, not me.
But I would recommend 6 feet of distance.
The 6-foot rule, the social distancing, which you said sort of just appeared.
The 6-foot rule, it's almost irrelevant. Almost irrelevant. Almost irrelevant. It's so important. The social distancing of 6 feet. 6 feet or more. 6 feet. Stay 6 feet apart. 6 feet. 6 feet apart. The most important thing. It's almost irrelevant. The biggest thing. Almost irrelevant. The perfect solution. Almost irrelevant. If everyone at all times stay 6 feet separated, 6 feet, 6 feet away, 6 feet apart, at least 6 feet. The biggest thing, the most important thing, the perfect solution is the 6-foot rule. The 6-foot rule. The 6-foot rule.
There was no science behind it. There was no trial that looked at 10 versus 6 versus 3 versus not even worrying about it at all. And since there was no clinical trials going one way or the other, that's why it was accepted by the group. There was no science behind it. There was no science behind it. And that's one of the things that's, I think, such a good thing about our system here, is that we're ruled by the science. There was no science behind it.
You confess that you made up the COVID rules, including
I didn't hear what you
6
said.
feet social distancing.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it up. You
I
made it
didn't
up
say
as you went.
I made it up.
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared. It is not based in science and it just appeared. If you are in science, you've got to direct what you do, what you recommend, your policies based on scientific data and evidence. And you've got to be consistent, and you've always got to be truthful to tell people what they may not like to hear.
Did you not feel an obligation for something that just sort of appeared, not to go back to the CDC and say, let's base this on what we know?
It was a CDC decision.
And you didn't feel an obligation as the lead scientist at the NIH to challenge that?
It is not appropriate to be publicly challenging a sister organization.
As the lead scientist,
It is not appropriate to be truthful.
as the lead scientist,
It is not appropriate to tell people what they may not like to hear.
Americans now have lost their trust in science, in lead science from government because of misinformation like this on the 6-foot distance rule.
It is not appropriate to be modest enough and humble enough to realize that you don't know everything at any given time. This is not rocket science. We know exactly what we can do and what we should be doing.
About 100 inmates were released earlier today. It's part of an emergency rule.
The 6-foot rule.
Releasing some very violent criminals, including a cop killer out of Richmond.
6 feet away.
I don't have any choice in this. I've been ordered to do it.
Make it so that they're always 6 feet apart.
Christians were arrested for not social distancing.
6 feet or more.
All LA beaches are closed due to social distancing.
6 or more feet by at least 6 feet.
The NYPD has assigned hundreds of officers to enforce social distancing.
Physical distance, 6 feet or more.
Several businesses charged with not social distancing.
Seemingly innocent things like singing, speaking loudly, or breathing heavily.
Singing has been banned at all church services in California.
I'm so grateful for everything you've done for our country.
There was no science behind it. Keeping 6 feet distance, 6 feet or more.
Police are arresting a dad in a park for throwing a ball to his daughter.
Stay 6 feet or more away. Hold feet to the fire. Let this be the lesson that we never forget. The most important thing is to keep this 6 foot physical distance from individuals.
Afternoon, sir.
Yes, yes.
Park with the RCMP.
Yeah.
I can get you step out of the vehicle. I'm going to place you under arrest right now.
Yeah.
Right now, you're under arrest under the provincial health orders. Okay, so if you can just put your hands behind your back, face towards the vehicle. Okay, give me one hand here.
I'll get you in the vehicle, okay? Thank
you. The other hand. Do you have any weapons or anything on you, sir?
Weapon? No, no weapon. Only
anything on you
only
that's
my
hurt
words.
Me or anything like that?
Sorry?
Anything on you that's going to hurt me or anything like that?
No, anything will hurt you. Only my words, only my philosophy, only what I believe in.
Okay. All right, come on over this way. I'll explain a few things to you here right away.
So funny, we still see the 6 feet social distancing in public places. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ehsan Arjman. I'm running candidate for the upcoming by-election in August 31st under banner of People's Party of Canada. My campaign manager, Peyman, is here with me today. We are planning to kick off our campaign. We talk about what this campaign is all about. And I'll let Peyman introduce himself, give us some words, and then we'll begin.
Hey, Ehsan. I'm glad to be here. I'm very honored that you actually reached out to me to be your campaign manager. You and I were, as far as I'm concerned, we have the same amount of experience. We both ran in April 2025. Oh, man. A year ago, but I was a decade younger. Yeah, so here we are.
It's a lot of work, man. You did a lot of work. And I'm very happy to get to know you, Peyman. I know you're doing a lot. You care about your community. You care about BC a lot. And it's my honor to have you in my team. And then you support me in this
happy to help.
election, man. Yeah. So Peyman, the reason I wanted to have this session with you, I want to speak to my community members, my constituents, to talk about why am I running, what are my goals, and what would be the desired outcome for me. And I want you to help me out whenever you think it's appropriate. So there, realistically, we know the People's Party of Canada is not part of the main parties in Canada, like NDP, Liberal, or Conservatives. I don't know how many Greens do we have. People Party of Canada, it's been widely boycotted. It's been dehumanized mostly during COVID times and now the facts are coming to surface. We realize that the only party actually is speaking the truth, and they were against those whatever happened. I don't know how to call it now. There's a lot of facts and a lot of evidence that are coming to surface right now, and then it gives us enough information to see what really happened during COVID. The reason I'm running is mostly to become the voice of the voiceless, is become the person and representing my party for those who've been politically homeless. I don't know how else I can put it, but that's the main goal. So I want Peyman also to a little bit help me out here, speak to it, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, we both ran in the April 2025 election. We both ran for the PPC, and we both got asked multiple times, why are you not running for the Conservative Party? It's easier. I mean, you have a better path to success, a better path to a guaranteed salary, a better path to a pension, a better path to a better, a stronger reputation, a stronger CV, job security when you leave public office. But at the end of the day, what does it matter if the country is not reforming? Canada, I don't like the direction it's going. I look back at what happened during COVID. I don't like that people were allowed to die because they didn't receive the vaccine, that they were intimidated and coerced into taking the vaccine, and then they got injured and they were denied the right of victimhood status. So when I see you and running and you're trying to help give a voice to the voiceless, I mean, I think you've already won. I don't care if the Liberals win North Vancouver for the next 10 elections. That's not a victory. That's a defeat, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, and always been like this, like being born in Iran, grew up in Iran, I always learned how to fight. If you see injustice, if something doesn't make sense, if you don't speak out and you just leave the status quo, basically goes through its own course, nothing is going to happen. So if you have a problem with something, you've got to act, you've got to do something, you've got to, you cannot just let it go and say, oh, things going to be okay. It's just the matter of it's not up to us. And I know a lot of people, they say it's a big club and you are not part of it. You've got to at least give it a try. You've got to get into the show. You've got to do something. You cannot stay passive 24/7 and always complaining about what's going on. Oh, things are not making sense to me. Oh, I have a problem with this. COVID was the whole show was didn't make sense to me. I felt like I'm stupid following all those procedures and whatever it was. And then at some point you're gonna say, I have to do something. And then I'm very happy that Maxime Bernier became one of those people that he stood his ground. He proved to us that he's the guy, that he's trustworthy. I don't care if you like him or dislike him, but he is someone with principles, with values, and he never caves in to what people like or what people dislike. This is who I am, and this is what I think is the best thing for Canada, and this is quite very respectful. He has my respect, and his party has become very attractive to me since COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, Max, he's always stood on principle, as you've said. So when people attack him, they usually attack him for unrelated things. Like they say he's a part of the Privy Council. He swore allegiance to the crown. His wife has a home in Florida. And really it's the Conservative Party in panic because they can tolerate a far left party like the NDP or the Greens, but the establishment doesn't want a party that's going to move the Conservative Party more to like a right of center individualist position. And I think that's why they anytime somebody mentions Max's name, they unleash Warren Kinsella and to discredit the party.
That's right. And COVID is a great example. Now everybody is blaming Justin Trudeau, I'll say blaming all on Justin Trudeau. Now he's having fun with Katy Perry, drinking American whiskey, living in the US. But never forget, Pierre Poilievre was 100% behind him. Like you cannot exclude the whole establishment and put the blame on only one person and say, oh, this is guy to blame. This is the guy who has 100% of responsibility. Never forget, all these politicians from all parties, they stayed united and they went against war, against like one of the most civilized protests in Canada with the truckers. I mean, like one of the shiny part of Canadian history. If people want to write the history about Canada, I believe one of those protests would be the convoy, and then how they suppress them, how they demolish the whole their protest. And then my point is, like, People's Party of Canada, we believe in the whole establishment, the whole political parties have become united. We call them uniparty, and I firmly believe that. We believe that for the issues that really matter, uh, they come together. They come together and they do the same thing. Maybe they have different narratives, but the outcome is the same.
Right. With the Freedom Convoy, and I supported them, and I went to Ottawa myself for the convoy. From the perspective of the treacherous, treasonous, tyrannical Trudeau government, they had to crush that protest because it was just too big of a threat. The people coming to the government and saying, this is not what we agreed to. This is not the spirit of the charter. It was too dangerous for them. So they had to do that. I understand it from Trudeau's perspective, logically.
Mhm.
But for Pierre Poilievre to not risk his credibility and his profession to stand up for what was right, I think it really damaged him. And if you want to see how badly it damaged him, in the most recent Conservative Party convention, they tried to co-opt some of the alternative media podcasters to sort of buttress the party, to say that the Conservative Party is such a good party, and the people rejected it. A lot of the people supported the PPC. They tried to deflect and say the PPC is a bad party. They said, no. You voted for Bill C-4. You voted for the Gender Affirming Care Act. Don't turn around and think you can get out of it. And I feel like his power, his grip has been slipping ever since.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the major issues we have with conservative parties, and particularly the leadership they have, is as Maxime put it very nicely, they've become fake conservative party. They are not anything. They are not upholding conservative values. They cave in easily. They go based off of their the surveys, based off of what people like to hear. They don't go based off of the real conservative values, and that's like I personally couldn't connect with someone like Pierre Poilievre, and then I'm hoping like some major changes coming to Conservative Party, hopefully in future. And then look at this. I mean, the fact that he just ignores the most important things about his own party is really very offensive to my intelligence. Now, like the first, they want everyone with conservative values to vote for Conservative Party because they don't want to split this vote. And then they get the vote. And by the way, they lost an election, the election that they had to win. I mean, they were destined to win. I mean, what else Justin Trudeau could do? He gave them everything they needed to win an election, but he lost. And at the same time, his MPs, they kept crossing the floor. And he's like, oh, I don't know, maybe this is, and that's the funny part. He said, actually, I don't know exactly his words, but that's how I felt about his statement. Oh, it's actually not too bad. So from now on, whatever happened is mostly liberals' responsibility. Conservatives got nothing to do with what liberals are doing right now. I mean, dude, come on. I mean, you can't even keep your MPs together. How can I trust? Like even like my writing, Stephen Coren, nice guy, beautiful, like family guy. I have no problem with it. And we actually I spoke with each other. He said, "Son, I'm never going to cross the floor," and I agree. But it's not about him. Like there are a lot of MPs in conservative parties that they can easily turn their back on their constituents and cross the floor based on the backdoor deals they make with liberals. And this is quite depressing. I mean, if I was a voter, I had no motivation, I had no incentive to go vote anymore if I know that the outcome could be something like this. So one of the other reasons I'm running is that to make sure the Conservative Party, they understand that we see them and we are intelligent, educated, wise people, and we understand what's going on, and they got to put themselves together.
For me, I agree with you on the floor crossings, by the way. I think it damaged the credibility and their integrity. But for me, what I think is what is really important for you to run is to basically hold the Conservative Party accountable. So somebody's got to tell them that you can't just treat us like guaranteed voters. You can't just assume that people have no hope and they're going to vote for the lesser of two evils because the Liberal Party is worse than the Conservative Party.
Right.
And the most important thing is for you to go to them and say, listen, there are 20% of the population that you ruined their lives. You forced them to take a vaccine they didn't want to take. You forced them to do things they didn't want to do. And you took 6 years of their life from them. And you think you can get away without just saying an apology like, no, I don't know if you don't have an internet connection, but there was something down south called the Fauci hearings, and we're fed up with this.
Totally. I want to hear this. It's about Fauci. This is a good one. I will get back to and continue discussion.
Wildest things now is during this Fauci trial, you're not seeing any coverage of it on mainstream media, except I saw one of those stupid panel shows on CNN where they were saying no one cares about this. We should care about what's happening right now. America doesn't care about what happened 5 years ago. Hey, there's a congressional hearing going on where a guy's testifying in front of Congress who got a complete 10-year immunity for all the crimes that he possibly could have committed when he wasn't convicted of any crimes, which is an incredible precedent that's never happened before. You've never had a guy get pardoned for something that he was never convicted of. For 10 years, anything he did in 10 years. And then you have that same guy testifying in front of Congress, pleading the fifth that what color his tie is. If you don't think that's news, you're out of your fucking mind, and you shouldn't be calling yourself the news because you're just a propaganda arm for whatever pharmaceutical company is paying for your advertisements. What you're doing is nonsense. This is definitely not news. That's a big issue for most Americans who went through that. People who lost their jobs. People who had to take a vaccine in order to go to work and got sick from it. People who they couldn't fly. They couldn't travel. They were vilified. They were called plague rats because they were questioning these things. And here we are. Here we are with CNN saying this is not a big deal. Why are we concentrating on this? We have so many issues right now plaguing this country. Yeah, guess what? We can concentrate on those too. We can look at everything. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what the news is supposed to be. You're supposed to be telling you're not supposed to be the arbiters of what we can and can't concentrate on. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So again, the ultimate goal for my campaign is to give this option, the alternative to people living in North Vancouver, Capilano, who are politically homeless. They are hopeless that their vote doesn't really matter, and then I'm realistic. Like even if I get elected, there would be. But I think the one PPC voice is much louder than the whole Conservative Party voice because we're going to speak the truth. We are and without apology, and that's where I am. That's why I am here, Peyman. So, Peyman, I want to talk about what can I do. So we have the election would be August 31st. As you know, I have limited resources. I'm welcoming volunteers to come and join my campaign. But you are the manager. You're the guy.
Yeah, no pressure.
Okay. How about you walk us through that?
We got to, like you said, we don't have the coffers. We don't have a prime minister to lean on. So we have to use what they call, guerrilla tactics, not violent guerrilla tactics, but like talking to people in the park. That's anywhere where people meet, table in the park, come ask me a question. I think that's where we should start, honestly. We got the Allison inquiry starting in September 8th in Ottawa. finally the Canadian people who were harmed because of the COVID mandates and the vaccines, they're going to see some justice. There's nothing to stop us from doing that in our own community. Just we want people to come and talk to you and tell you what they're feeling. If they're 100% on board with what the government did, that's fine. Just come tell us why you think that. If you lost somebody during COVID, come talk to us. We want to hear you. We hear what you went through. But if if you were silenced, if you were denied the opportunity to grieve, you were denied the victimhood status that you deserve, come talk to Ehsan. We'll be announcing where he's going to be shortly.
That's great. Of course. It's my honor. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to hear more and more from my community. And as I mentioned, the best thing about running this campaign is just to have the feeling that I want to become the voice of the voiceless. People, they've been ignored. They've been saying what Fauci is saying, what Joe Rogan was saying maybe 5 years ago, and if they were denied. And now, like, everybody is acting like nothing happened. All these politicians, they're acting like nothing happened, and then everything was normal, and then all the push and all the propaganda was normal. But no, it's not. Nothing. It's not the end yet. We're going to make you guys accountable. We're going to ask you serious questions, and we want to make sure whatever happened is not going to happen anymore. That's extremely important to us, because we cannot afford that. We cannot afford to or intelligence to get offended again. Peyman,
Can I say something quick?
Absolutely, yeah, go for it.
Beyond just being one community, maybe it's just a couple of people that got vaccine injured. Maybe you don't even like people that didn't take the vaccine. What happened in the last 6 years was a culture of fear. This is not the Canada I remember. This is not the Canada I grew up in the 90s. This is a culture of fear. In the 90s, a police officer looked like a normal human being, dressed in a shirt, a tie, maybe a hat. Today, those police officers that you showed in that video that arrested Maxime Bernier, they're dressed like they're military. Why do we want to grow up in a country where we fear our government? And then that's essentially why, Ehsan is running and why I'm helping him.
Yeah. Another problem I have, and as I mentioned, I grew up in an Islamist communist country, and I know how slowly but surely getting your freedom after a little bit of time becomes normal. And I don't want it to be a new norm in Canada. Like now, if I want to go to Instagram or if I want to go to Facebook, I'm not even able to go to like Fox News or CNN. And you know what? In the beginning, people were complaining about it. Say, what's going on? But now it's become a new norm. And that's how it's going to be. Like government is coming a step by a step, slowly and surely. They take your freedom away without you even feeling it. And it becomes every time a new norm. They're talking about digital ID. They're talking about like full control. We have, for God's sake, Bill C9 passed. The whole like censorship that you become for what you think and what you express online, you can be persecuted. And like if somebody if someone told this to a guy like 10 years ago, he would be furious. But now people say, oh, maybe it's not a bad thing, maybe it's good. They're after like terrorists, they're after like I don't know, like cartels. But that's not true. Freedom is extremely important. A lot of people like me, we appreciate freedom. Freedom is and I remember when I was running last year, Max asked me, what's your highest priorities? Why are you running? I said freedom, freedom, freedom. Everything else is meaningless without freedom. So it's extremely important. If they take it away from us, getting it back, it's going to be unfortunately very, very tough and sometimes bloody. that's the experience, I guess. So you've got to protect your freedom. You shouldn't let them take your freedom away for any cause, for any justification.
You're right on both counts. Not if they take your freedom away, getting it back is extremely difficult, and just as horrifying is this normalization of the erosion of your freedom. So you mentioned Bill C9, and people are just getting used to having to use an ID to log in online. People don't have access to certain news outlets, and it's this creeping totalitarianism. It's this new normal where at first you're like, oh, this is a minor inconvenience, and then the Canadians go along with it. And I can, again, this is one of the reasons I was so excited when you asked me to help you out, because this is another pillar of your sort of campaign promises is C9 is not normal. This stuff should not be normal.
That's true. It shouldn't be normal. You should fight, fight, fight. Yeah. Freedom is the most precious thing that I earned when I moved to Canada. I don't want to give it away easily with no fight. Yeah. So there are a lot of things I want to speak to it, Peyman. I know a lot of things we discussed together in another meeting, but let's pick a couple of important topics, and we end this first session. We're gonna have more of this in future in this month before August 31st.
I thought this was going to be a long episode where we just get drunk on a what is it, Saturday night.
There you go. Yes, maybe next time. Right.
Okay, so what would you want to talk about? Any topics in particular?
A lot of so in North Vancouver, there is a explosion of population with not a lot of investment on the infrastructure itself, like schools that are overpopulated. Traffic is crazy. Like the highway is the same, but the number of people living in North Vancouver, North Shore, they want to communicate. It's been like 3 times more at least. So that's one thing that people in North Vancouver are complaining about. Jobs is another thing. Housing affordability is another thing. So let's start with the whole idea of housing and affordability and what PPC believes in. You want to start? I'll jump in.
Yeah, sure. So with housing, I was thinking about this earlier. Let's go over the reasons why housing is expensive. Number one, increased demand, because housing is a hedge against inflation. So if your government is printing money and your money is worthless, you have to put it in something else. So people, they panic and they put it in housing. The fancy term for that is speculation. The price of housing goes up. Another reason is decreased supply. So when you have insane amounts of regulations, and that I include in that crown land where they lock up all of this land, so you have limited amount of housing being built. That's another one. And then on top of that, the third one, you sprinkle things like mass immigration, foreign money coming in through either China or drugs, money laundering. All of that stuff also increases the prices. So housing is very, very, it's a difficult one because people want an easy solution. So you're the Conservative Party, you go in, you're like, we're going to remove the red tape. You're an NDP party. We're going to build a department and that's going to subsidize housing. The Liberal Party, we're going to bail out the houses and we're going to give you cheap rent. Like somebody has to go in and say, listen, we have no one to blame but ourselves. Let's start today. Let's open up some of the crown land and let's build some communities with less red tape where there's industry. And hopefully in 15 years, when our kids enter the workforce, they're going to have some hope, some future.
Yeah, and then there is one more thing I want to add. People complaining about how tough it is to own condo or a house in North Vancouver. House is like a far-fetched idea for young people. So let's not even talk about that, unfortunately. realistically. But one thing that every time people complain that we have a housing problem, government comes one step forward. The government become like add more taxation, like Airbnb, speculation, all this type of, or increasing of the property tax. So that's what you get if you ask government to resolve this issue. So I think the first one is that try to remove government from the market. That's the first thing. And the second part is that we need better jobs. We need high paid jobs. Unfortunately, BC and the whole Canada is not doing well. There's like trillions of dollars that are moving from Canada to the US because of the whole idea of government wants to control every single thing, and they are not. And every time, regardless of government, every time government get into any business, they make it worse. So, and that's a proven concept. We don't want to invent the wheel anymore. So that's another thing, and we need to have the economy that creates better jobs, high paying jobs, so young people they can afford to save up money and they be able to purchase well deserved home for the future. And then we're living in one of the biggest countries in the world. Like the amount of land we have is just so much, man. I don't know. I don't get it why they're just putting a lot of restriction for land ownership. It should be very, very cheap, in fact. And one more thing, we are paying almost every Canadian average is paying 60% of their income towards tax. That's crazy. That is absolute. And then we are living in the richest countries in the world. Like literally, we shouldn't pay any tax. We have everything. We have like the resources Canada owns and Canadian people owns. If they unleash the resources, Canadians no longer even need to pay any tax. So all these factors are contributing. And then once people complain about housing, they take it to government. What government usually do, they punish the investors. They punish whoever is going to develop and build houses or condos or whatever. That's so I think we are living in a vicious circle here. We have housing instead of attacking the root cause, creating jobs, lowering tax, they're releasing all these lands, crown lands that we have to the people. You know, it's not supposed to be that expensive. And then, as I said, letting people to save up money and then they buy their own house. And if they have more money, they should be able to buy their second house. What's wrong? This is one of the concepts of the whole capitalism. Why we are going to punish somebody who is making more money? And all of this, they contributed. They're blamed for moving trillions of dollars from Canada to the US. And I know a lot of rich people that they're no longer willing to bring their money to Canada. They're moving their money from BC to somewhere else all around the world. And that's the fact.
You know, I like what you said, that it's a vicious cycle. So people have problem finding homes and they go to government, not realizing that the reason they can't afford a home is because of government. And government, it does the only thing it knows how to do: more stuff, more regulations, more laws, more taxes, more restrictions, which makes it worse. And when it gets worse, the people next election cycle, they go back and they say, you got to fix it. And at some point you're like, you know, when are you guys going to realize, when are we going to realize that they're the ones that are causing the problems? We have to find some other way. And it's the same thing you said with jobs. We need, you know, high quality employment in Canada. Well, no one's going to bring their money here if the taxes are onerous, if the regulations are just too high, there's too many restrictions, too many requirements. And I think you're right on the money. You go in there and just say to the people, like, let's just scale back government. Like that there's your solution to 90% of your problems right there.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I'm supporting People's Party of Canada. We don't want government outreach. We don't want government involvement in every single matter that basically impact our lives. It's just they're creating more problems, way more problems than doing any good. And that's the truth.
It was the same with me. Like I had a company, and every year my profits went down. The costs were too high. You got to get a lawyer, an accountant for everything. I just closed the company. There was like 15 people working for me. That's 15 people that won't make a salary now because it's just not worth it.
That's true. And this is a story I'm hearing from a lot of people. I know like some of big developers with a lot of they used to do a lot of investment in BC. So they're creating high paying jobs. They have no incentive and motivation to work here anymore. It's just things are getting very difficult. And that's a common sense. If you can go somewhere else and invest and get better returns, why not? And these are the facts. These are the facts that we cannot change, unfortunately.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
There's one profession or one category of jobs that it's very easy to get into. Like it doesn't take a law degree. Trades. So construction, plumbing, electrical work, painting. These are things that the ordinary people can get into. You got 3 or 4 people, they can start a little company together, and it's profitable. But if they require increased amount of accounting, and if taxes go up, and there's more regulations, there's more people that have to come do inspections, all of that dries up, and those people, they either become unemployed and they have to go work, they have to get welfare, or they go work in a big company, and it's just not the same. When it's your own company, even if it's just like 2 or 3 people, you feel free, you feel responsibility. And I think the government of Canada doesn't want that. They don't want you to be free. They don't want another, trucker convoy risk.
That's true. That's true. Okay, Peyman. Let's talk about what I'm doing right now. So right now, I need to collect 100 signatures. I met some nice volunteers that they are helping me out in that regard. So hopefully I'm going to finish all the requirements needed to sign up and meet with the officer, and then hopefully officially become the candidate by end of this week. I'm going to spend good amount of my time in public places, speak to people, tell them that you have a real alternative here with a very different voice. And I want to tell them, convince them that maybe it's a better idea this time around if you vote based on your values and don't vote strategically. It didn't work well, did it? So, and I want to thank you. I'm open to your suggestion. You and everybody else who's listening to this podcast or is going to listen to it later on. I'm open to your ideas, your suggestions. We need to get people engaged. I know People's Party of Canada has a long history of being boycotted. Has a long history of people trying to silent this party, and particularly Max himself. But our community members, I hope they understand the importance of having a very brave voice for them in Parliament, and that is something important. Yeah.
Ehsan, I think you're going to do a lot better this time than I did, because in the last election, there was a sense of mania, of absolute panic people thought that this is the last election. I remember them telling this, don't split the vote. We have to get the liberals out or everyone's going to die. Like the day after the election, we're all going to go to hell. And it didn't work out that way. The conservatives lost. And now everybody's lost faith in the conservatives with all these floor crossings. So I think it's going to be a lot harder for them to say, don't split the vote, guys.
Don't split the vote. There you go. There you go. Peyman, thank you very much for your time. We're going to talk more. We're going to, I'm open to your suggestion. I want to take advantage of your experience. I know you've been very, very involved. Okay. There is one question.
Cool.
Peyman, that's okay. Answer this. What is the PPC platform? How does the PPC do politics differently? Go for it.
Who's that from? I'm not familiar with this individual.
I'm not familiar. William Knight, if it's right. I don't know. Maybe it's.
He doesn't have the most appealing profile picture. He's got a scowl. He looks like an angry Irish Newfoundlander.
I'm not sure about the Irish part, but yeah.
No, that's Mr. Timothy Knight, former PPC CEO of Fraser Valley. What is the PPC platform and how does the PPC do politics differently? You're the candidate. You get to take a crack at it.
Okay. So PPC, so I had this discussion with when I was on the street, I was speaking about PPC and how it is different from other parties. And we went over the platform, the website, the policies, and I had coffee with some of the constituents in this community, and every single policy that we talked about, at the end, they're like, "Oh, your policies are great. Your policies are beating every single other parties." And I'm talking about the last election. So you are right. Your policies making a lot of sense. And well, but again, back to the same. We don't want to split the vote. This is the kind of last election that we are able to participate, and we got to make sure the liberals are gone and Justin Trudeau is gone. And then we saw that how it turned out. So I would like you guys to look at People's Party of Canada website. Very detailed, talking about all the policies that we have. It's very, very actually user friendly. I'm sure if you guys just type in People's Party of Canada, you're going to see it, and policies. You're going to please read through the policies. And I would say, if you want to keep it very simple, there are two conservative party. They are regardless of what's been changed in the last 10, 12, 15 years, they were standing their ground. They're upholding the conservative values, and they are the reliable party. I mean, I just saw a video from Maxime Bernier. Do you remember in COVID times, like if you say vaccines are bad, like how people used to treat you? They wouldn't even let you get into Cactus Club, have a drink. They wouldn't let you fly. Don't forget those times. And Maxime stood out. He said, "No, I'm gonna say no to you. And if you want to take me to the jail, be my guest. But I have no weapon, only my words and philosophy. This is big. This PPC brand stands for bravery. It stands for independent thinking. It stands for critical thinking, not following the crowd just for the sake of it and because people like you. No, you are supposed to use your brain. You are supposed to think independently and logically and come up with your the conclusion. And if something you see you feel like this is not what you deserve, you've got to speak up. And that's what PPC is all about. And yeah, it's a different voice. It's the different real alternative. So they ask me, how can people reach out to you? That's a very good question. That's a very good question. So so if you look at my, okay, let me put this in here.
Is that an AI generated picture of me? It looks like I just went through a dust storm.
That's true. That's true. So let me show you how to contact me. So basically, you can reach out to me through my ex. My ex, I'm going to put my ex here in the banner. Here. EHSARJ. And
where's the? Did you put up the banner? I don't see a banner. There we go.
There you go. Yes. And also, that's my ex account. And also, what I can do is that if you go to People's Party of Canada, there is a homepage for me that basically you can go to my profile and you can get to know me better and send me your email. But you know, X is something that I mostly engage with respect to other social medias. And I will be happy to speak with you guys, to hear you guys out. Yeah, that's it.
If I can make an appeal to the audience, there's a couple of people that we need. If you have any skills with a camera, we're looking for people that have professional video camera skills. You can hit the record button. You can hold a camera or phone. If you can do that, we could use your support. And another one is if anybody has is comfortable with social media accounts, we need somebody to help us with daily posting of social media content. Please go ahead and contact Ehsan or myself at inlayterms.substack.com.
Absolutely. Thank you. We're going to have more sessions like this, hopefully twice a week until the election comes up, give updates to constituents talking about what happened and what we're going to do. And we're going to get busy. Thanks, everyone, for listening and watching this.
See ya, Ehsan.
See ya. There you go.
Raised where the dust won't fade, where the night runs low and the lights betray. Every step feels like I might fall. Truth cuts deep like a blade in the dark. My road ain't clean, it's a line I cross. I'm my own judge, I take my loss. Scars don't lie, they show my flame. I won't burn, I became the flame. They dragged me down, I broke their chains. Tried to break me, I stayed the same. This is my